flexibility. If something happens with her, when I need to be home, I can just log out and just say, okay, my family needs me. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't want to be nobody's employee. I do what I want. I'm independent. Independently. That's what I like about it.
Sunday night, Georgia debates in a race that could decide who controls the Senate. Senator Kelly Loeffler, Senator Raphael Warnock, FB 9 in Georgia. Sunday night at 7, live on CNN. This is Star. Hey, that was good.
What do you think of mine, Grandma? Good.
Perfect, yeah.
Put the work in here. Okay, my turn, my turn.
Here we go.
Just like yours, Mom.
Well, Robert, very well.
I think I did something wrong. Yes. Okay, everybody, let's start again.
I think I used a couple salt.
At Spectrum, we think even if you can't be together, you should still be together.
Amy is pretty smart.
Very funny. So we'll keep you connected. Happy holidays from Spectrum.
If you've ever wanted to make the world a better place, if you've ever wanted to make a difference in the lives of others, start your path at Galen College of Nursing. With Galen, you'll discover an immersive 100% nursing-focused education and support you won't find anywhere else. So if you're ready to change lives, start with your own.
The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Up next on CNN.
And breaking news in our health lead today, any minute, a CDC advisory committee is expected to vote on who should get the coronavirus vaccine first. Let's bring in Dr. Peter Hotez, the co-director of the Center for Vaccine Development at Texas Children's Hospital. Dr. Hotez, after the first batch of people getting the vaccine, we presume that will be healthcare providers, people on the front lines, doctors, nurses, hospital staff. What happens next?
Well, I think it's going to be really important to do two things. First, we want to stabilize the healthcare system, and that's a key reason to vaccinate all the healthcare providers as quickly as possible. And then those at highest risk, and I think nursing home residents are going to be a high priority. So we're looking at roughly 21 million healthcare workers, 3 million residents of nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And that will pretty much use up the doses for the rest of the year, because there's going to be about 40 million doses divided in half, because you have to give each dose 3-4 weeks apart. So those are the kinds of numbers we're looking at least in the year.
I believe I heard the statistic that 40% of the fatalities have been people who are in retirement communities, nursing homes. The head of the CDC committee that's voting now on vaccine distribution says that the final decision about who specifically gets the
ปี
vaccine
นี้ปีแรกต้นไม้สด
there will not be enough to go around in the first
แต่ต้นไม้สดมาหลายปีแล้ว
Is that standard?
ปีนี้ปีแรกเฮียไปเลือกเอง
Not many people realize this, but so much vaccine policy
มันก็มีกลิ่นหอมนะเพราะมันเป็นต้นสน
individual legislatures make a lot of the vaccine policy in terms of school requirements. This is why, I've been going up against the anti-vaccine lobby for years, and it's tough because you have to do it times 50 because each state is quite different. So it doesn't surprise me that the states will do the same thing. Hopefully, they'll listen to the ACIP guidelines. Also, the National Academies have issued some guidelines as well. But we can expect that each state will fine-tune those guidelines to some of the unique needs of the state in terms of certain populations at risk. Also, New Mexico or Texas, which has a very high Hispanic population, we've seen about 35% of the deaths under the age of 65 in those groups. And so that means, this idea of a 65-year-old age cutoff will not really work in our
ตอนนี้มีปัญหา
There's going to be a lot of
เพราะคนติดเชื้อเยอะ
The Pfizer vaccine, there are a couple of vaccines. There's a
แล้ว
Pfizer
ก็
and Moderna, and then there are
โรงพยาบาล
others that
เต็ม
are on the work. The Pfizer vaccine
โรงพยาบาลนี่เต็มก็ส่งไปอีกโรงพยาบาลหนึ่งอีกโรงพยาบาลก็เต็ม
negative 94. There
ต้องให้ลูก
we're showing right now
คนไข้อยู่บ้าน
freezers to hold the vaccines. Do places like
แล้ว
Rite
ก็พูด
Aid
ถึง
and
วัคซีน
CVS, do they have the capacity to handle these vaccines to store it at negative 94?
Well, the Moderna one, which
มันต้องลบ
follow,
องศานะลบ
temperature. So
90
the Pfizer one,
94 ลบ 94 องศานะ
however,
ถึงจะเก็บไอ้วัคซีนพวกนี้ได้
refrigerator temperature for a couple couple of days. So one possibility.
เขาบอกว่าถ้าเป็นแค่วันหนึ่งก็โอเคอะแต่ว่าหลายๆวันคงไม่ได้
Facility and then send it to the various pharmacies and keep it refrigerated for a couple of days. My understanding is some of the CVS and big chain
ดวง
pharmacies
ดาวมัน
will
ย้ายไปย้ายมา
city may have one or two
แล้วแต่เวรแล้วแต่กรรมนะ
capacity, but again, it's going to vary a lot locally.
มีหมอสองคนในบ้านก็เป็นห่วงลูก
We try to keep it as straightforward and simple as possible. We've seen how
เป็นห่วง
awful testing went. Our health system just doesn't handle
ไปที่พักเราก็ยิ่งเป็นห่วงว่าเวลา
simply the guidelines.
ไปอยู่หอไปอะไรแล้วก็ต้องไปทำงาน
Walgreens says that they're preparing
เขาเรียกว่า take resident นั่นคือต้องเข้าไปอยู่ในหอพักอะ
facility residents.
แล้วก็
CVS is
มันก็เหมือนกับเป็นห่วงนะ
900,000 to deliver to nursing
แต่ก็มีพ่อแม่ครูบาอาจารย์คอยดูแล
We hear that these major pharmacies are preparing to distribute vaccines.
ตอนนี้ก็แย่หน่อยเพราะว่าเฮียไม่สบาย
Walgreens or CVS to get them.
คือว่า
Well, that's right. It's
พรุ่งนี้หรือมะรืนเนี่ยจะไปผ่า
vaccines. Eventually,
เอาเนื้อร้ายออก
because remember, these are the first two vaccines, Pfizer
เห็น
first.
ก็คุยนะว่าคุยกับลูกว่าเขาก็
Adenovirus
ไม่
vaccine.
ค่อยมั่นใจเราก็ได้แต่ให้กำลังใจ
The J&J
ต่างคนต่างก็อายุเยอะนะ
refrigeration. And then
แก่แค่ไหนก็ต้องการพ่อต้องการแม่
later on, we're scaling up in
มี
India.
ยามทุกข์อย่างนี้นะคิดถึง
It's going to be a lot more
คิดถึงแม่
It'll be much more straightforward, and you can get it at your pharmacy, supermarket pharmacy, and your
ถึงแม่มา
CVS, and it'll get a lot easier. In the beginning, there will be greater logistical challenges.
And these vaccines, at least these first two, need to be taken in multiple doses. I think you need 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine. Is that going to be difficult to facilitate?
I hope not. I mean, there are a lot of adult vaccines we give in 2 doses. Shingrix, for instance, we often give in 2 doses. That's not uncommon. And I think the AstraZeneca Oxford will be 2 doses. Maybe the J&J will be 1 dose. So our tricky part is you're going to have situational awareness. In other words,
แม่ลูกเสือเก่าเขาเดือนที่แล้ว บอกหลานเขาขายทิกเก็ต10 บาทอะไรพวกนี้เราก็แบบช่วงนั้นก็กำลังกุ้มนะก็เลยไม่ได้ต่อไปก็เฉยๆแต่เขาคงจะโกรธนะแต่เราก็แบบจะคัดดาวทุกสิ่งทุกอย่าง
All right, Dr. Peter Hotez, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And should a COVID vaccine be authorized by the FDA, distribution could
แม้แต่โทรศัพท์บ้านที่ใช้มาเกือบ30 ปีก็ตัดลงเหลือแต่เซลโฟนแล้วทีนี้ไม่ได้ต้องเลือกอะเห็นวันนี้เขาก็ไปที่ทำงานไปดูหนังสือรีไทร์เมนต์นะไม่ขยันเขาทำแล้วเพราะว่ามันได้เวลาแล้วเขาก็ยังแอบไปตัดหญ้าทำเนื่นทำนี่โคตรเอ็ดนะเนื้อร้ายมันก็โตขึ้นเนาะเขาก็เป็นห่วงนะแบบทำแบบพยายามจะทำบ้านเสร็จแล้วบอกไม่ต้องไปยกของหนักหรอกมันมีที่ห่วงทุกอันแหละเราก็เอาอันที่มีเนี่ยห้อยอันไหนไม่มีก็ต้องห้อยแล้วเดี๋ยวทำใหม่ข้างนอกหนาวเยอะไหมพ่ออากาศมันเปลี่ยนนะเขาต้องเก็บไอ้วัคซีนที่เขาทำใหม่นะต้องลบ94เท่านั้นนะลบ94นี่เยอะนะแล้วว่าลบ10ลบ5ลบ20ลบ30ก็โอเคนั่นนี่ต้องลบ94องศาลบนะยิ่งกับขั้วโลกเหนืออย่าง
All right, Pete Monteith, thank you so much. Finally today, we'd like to remember just one of the more than 269,000 lives that we have lost to the coronavirus in the United States.
นักดนตรี ของลาติโนลาตินนะตาย
Noe Montoya. He played his guitar to send a message.
โอ้
He sang about social justice. He was a fierce advocate for the United Farm Workers. He marched with Cesar Chavez. He lived in Hollister, California, and he was the soul of his local theater company.
โอ้หน้าคุ
They
้น
called
ๆนะ
him the Maestro. Montoya tested
El
positive for
Tiro.
coronavirus just a few days ago on November 19th. He died on Thanksgiving
โอ้
Day.
นายทีเองไม่
May
กี่
his
วันเอ
memory
ง
be a blessing. A reminder, President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will join me Thursday for their first joint interview since their election
เป็น
win.
ผู้
And
หญิง
you
ผิว
can see
ดำคนแร
a
กที่เป็น
portion of that
Vice
Thursday here
President
on the lead. Then join me for a 1-hour special Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern only on CNN. Our coverage on CNN continues right now.
โอ้ยเจะพอเสียงหายติดต้นคริสต์มาสร้องตัง
This is CNN Breaking News.
มาเลยโทโทกงสุยเหวงปัดยาวโทจะลีใส่ก้านสีวันจอกโทโทยัดฟินชีเหล่าชีให้ชีสาวชิ้นฟุ้นสิวไปยาวสาบายจกยาวไม่มีหันเนมันฟ้านชีเฝ้าชีตายก็อย่าฝ่าป่าเศร้าจินชินมาจินชินทาหยิบแม่แพงปลุกจี้จงจังเตาเยาให้เยาเศร้าชิ้นฟุ้นสิวปียาวบาดจิ้นลองใจหมองซ้ำจงให้ฟูเต้า
Right now, Jim, the Attorney General Bill Barr has been one of the most loyal members of the Trump administration, but now he's publicly breaking with the president on the president's baseless claim that the election was stolen from him. That's right, Wolf. This may be the most significant official contradiction of President Trump's cries that he was cheated out of a
ไม่แน่หันเนมันฟ้านชีเฝ้าชีตายก็อย่าฝ่าป่าเศร้าจินชินวาจินชินทาหยิบแม่เพงปลุกจี้จงจังเตาเยาให้เยาเศร้า
just told the world.
ชิ้นฟุ้นสิวไปยาว
Cold water on President Trump's bogus claims of election fraud. Attorney General William Barr says the Justice Department has found no
ใจ
evidence
หม
that
อ
would
ซ้
change the results of
ำจ
the
งให้
2020 race
ฟู
for the White House.
เต้า
Before entering the West Wing earlier in the day, Barr told the Associated Press his prosecutors investigated a number of claims, but to date we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election. Barr even dismissed accusations that voting machines were tampered with, saying there's been one assertion that would be systemic fraud. That would be the claim
แม่
that
น้ำ
machines
ไหล
would tamper
เชี่ยวไหลไปแล้วไม่ไหลกลับ
The DHS and DOJ have looked into that, and so far, we haven't seen anything to substantiate that. Over the weekend, the president sounded frustrated the Justice Department hadn't found any widespread fraud.
Why isn't the FBI all over the place? They're not. They're not. It's an incredible thing. They're not. And it's an embarrassment to our country.
In a strange twist, the Trump legal team is now slamming Barr, saying in a statement, with all due respect to the Attorney General, there hasn't been any semblance of a Department of Justice investigation. Still, the president continues to tee off on Republican governors who are refusing to join his quest to cling to power. Mr. Trump pleaded to Georgia's GOP Governor Brian Kemp, do something. You allowed your state to be scanned. You must check signatures and count signed envelopes against ballots. The president then said about the upcoming Georgia Senate runoffs, call off election. It won't be needed. We will all win.
I would urge the president, I would urge Republicans to redirect their post-election approach here.
In Arizona, Governor Doug Ducey was spotted appearing to not answer a phone call
ปี
with
นี้
that ringtone. The same
2020
ringtone Ducey said he dedicated to calls from the president.
2563
Mr. Trump is slamming Ducey, who just went along with his state
วันที่
certification of its
1 ธันวา
results.
Arizona will not forget
But here's the deal. The president realizes his challenges are going nowhere. With one advisor telling CNN Mr. Trump knows he's lost, adding, yes, he does. The writing is on the wall. The president's team has been busy raising money during Mr. Trump's cries of foul play.
ไอ้เจอนี้ตั้งกับน้องเฟิร์นเล็กๆนะ
One Trump attorney, Joe DeGenova, is doing damage control after saying the former head of the administration's cybersecurity agency, Chris Krebs, should be shot after he said the election was secure.
Anybody who thinks that this election went well, like that idiot Krebs, who used to be the head of cyber,
The man who was on 60
แฮปปี้นิวเยียร์นะ สุขสันต์กันทุกคนทุกวันนะ
drawn and quartered, taken out and
Bye-bye.
shot.